internet and how actually internet works with IP addresses and what is DNS and VPN and how we can leverage them. So let me tell you about this a little bit by showing you a very simple diagram, a very simple image. Suppose that you have a router in your home. Most probably you have it so that you can connect to the internet, right? And you have a lot of devices like your phone, your MacBook or your PC or your laptop. So these devices are connected to your router so that they can be connected to the internet. So we have this IP address, which is Internet Protocol, and it defines your address on the internet, and you communicate with the internet or you communicate with the outer world thanks to this address, using this address, okay? I'm sure you have heard this IP address term before. But maybe you don't know that you have two kinds of IP addresses. You have one public IP address and you have one local IP address. And we're going to see the difference right now. So in this case, as you can see, I have my phone, I have my desktop, I have my laptop, and I have my router in my house. So IP address is these numbers over here, like 192.168.0.10 or 0.11 or 0.12, okay? But these are local IP addresses. So when you connect to a router, it actually allocates some IP addresses to your network, your local network. So each device gets one local IP address, and it generally starts with 192 and continues with 168. And then later on, it continues with either 0 or 1 or 2, depending on your settings, and then you get something from 0 to 255. And router generally gets 0.1 or 1.1, okay? So that it can be identified as the primary device in the network. So this is the case in this image as well. Our router has 192.168.0.1, so this is our local IP address for our router. But the red one over here is the public IP address. So public IP address is same for every device actually, because router has this public IP address and it communicates with the outer world using that public IP address. So it basically goes like this. Whenever I want to go to any website or any, any mobile app, we use requests and responses. We send some requests to the router. It actually sends these requests to the internet, to the outer world. It gets a response from that website or from that app, and it forwards that response to the related device using these IP addresses and something called MAC addresses. We're going to see what is a MAC address in the next section, but right now we are interested in the IP addresses, okay? So as you can see, we have one local IP address and one public IP address. So maybe you have heard this term. You shouldn't tell public IP address to anyone, or you shouldn't tell your IP address to anyone. So they refer to the public IP address, okay? You can tell your local IP address. In fact, I'm going to show you my local IP addresses all the time during this course, but I'm not going to show you my public IP address, okay? That's how you get hurt online. But I'm going to show you how you can find your own public IP address and how to find your own local IP addresses. And I'm showing you all of this because this will be kind of a basis for our course. We're going to use this later on so much. We're going to use IP addresses, we're going to use VPNs and DNS every time. So open your Kali Linux, and if you go to your Firefox, okay, and of course you can do that with your host computer as well, because we're going to see what our public IP address is. In order to find your public IP address, you can simply go to google.com and search for what is my IP address, okay? So you can either search for what is my IP or what is my IP address. If you click on search, most probably you will see your public IP address in the first page, but if you don't see it like me right now, you can just click one of the links over here. Like there's a website called whatismyipaddress.com. Actually, it's very straight. If you click over here, you can see your IP address in this page. If you allow your location to be found, you can see your location as well. I'm going to allow it, okay? And of course, I'm blurring my IP address so that you won't see, but if you did this thing with me, you get your own public IP address, okay? And if you want to get your local IP address, you should do it inside of your terminal. So if you run ifconfig over here, ifconfig, it will give you your IP configurations. Like for example, we are connected to the internet through this ETH0, and as you can see, there is a column over here saying INAT, which is 10.02.15, and this is my local IP address right now. Maybe you can think that, yeah, you said most of the time local IP addresses start with 192.168. Why does it give us 10.02.15? Because in virtual machines, we generally get this 10.02 set, okay? So since we are connected to the internet with NAT network, we are inside of a virtual machine. Right now, we have this 10.02, 10.02.1, 10.02.2, 10.02.4, and so on. And if I connect my Kali Linux directly to the router using a USB Wi-Fi card, which we will within a couple of sections, we will get 192.168 IP address directly inside of Kali Linux as well. Right now, we are connected with ETH0. And if you run ipconfig rather than ifconfig inside of your Windows machine, you can get your local IP address in your Windows machine as well. In order to run it, by the way, you should search for CMD in your Windows search and open your command prompt. So that's it.